Hello, everyone. Happy January 17th, 2025. This is Patrick Scott. And I noticed when I used that photograph that it was in front of the 9/11 memorial pools at the World Trade Center in New York City. I was there last month, actually between Christmas and New Year's. And I realized after I posted it that, I mean, I could have just taken a picture of me right now smiling and used that or used a thumbnail or whatever. And I noticed that my face was very solemn. And, it is a very solemn place. And for those of you that have been around for a while, it's 25 years ago that 9/11 happened. And I wasn't there in New York City. I was actually in Los Angeles when it happened. But it was a significant thing that happened. And whenever I get back to New York, and I don't get back as often as I'd like to, but this was the first time in many years that I'd been back, and I had never seen the memorial. I had seen the pools, but I had never seen the museum, and I had never seen the top of the Freedom Tower. And so I did go to the museum, and we're going to talk today about advanced practitioners and about how you manage your emotions and how you manage your energy and how you help others. And for those of you that are committed to a healing path for yourselves and others, and you work in as a what we call a light worker or an energy worker, we're going to talk about, as I've talked about repeatedly, the being sensitive to energy. I don't know if any of you have felt it, but there's something going on this week. I haven't looked. I don't know that it's a full moon or a new moon or Mercury in retrograde or solar flares or the Schumann resonance, but just the last couple of days I have felt kind of a tension, and I notice in my clients. Now, understand I work with clients of all different shapes and sizes, and some of them are into the woo woo and some of them are not. Some of them are veterans, some of them are light workers, such as yourselves. And so I just notice, hello, Amber, hello, Josh, that it's been a little bit of as Josh says, kind of a funky week. And I noticed it with my relationship to technology. Uh, all I can share with you is my anecdotal experience. And I think at my age, I am really pretty tech savvy, that I have tried to keep up. And this thing about the passwords and having to change your password every few weeks, and this is a great example, because sometimes I get frustrated with all of our technology and all of our stuff. Some things are just super hard. I wanted to order this tea from Thailand. This is a weird, crazy example. So I went on their website. It's a tea that I've had before, and it's a therapeutic tea that I use for a joint issue that I have, and I've ordered it before. Well, I ordered it, and they said that they are not able to process international orders and that they're not able to process international credit card orders, which I thought was interesting, in this day and age, that I can't just use a credit card. So they said, we will send you, place your order. We will send you an email with how to pay. 35 bucks worth of tea. Okay, $35, 35.73 if you must know. So all morning, I get the email yesterday. I get up early, pardon me. I do a lot of my administrative stuff, meditation, clearing, release work, journaling, all my little private time stuff. I try to get through emails. I try to do stuff in the mornings, that I need to focus, because the rest of the day I'm in the clinic right now. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, and I could be interrupted. They know that I'm not going to be at the door if they knock right now because I have a sign on the door. And so I think, well, how hard can it be? And this is my favorite thing. Like, how hard can it be? I'm just trying to order tea. Tea. It's 35 bucks. It seems like, I know that sounds like it's a lot of money for tea, but I'm ordering a lot of it. The last batch that I ordered lasted me like 5 or 6 years. And this will make sense. I know it seems silly, like, why is he talking about tea? I'm talking about how a simple transaction just to get this stuff shipped to me, they send me this long email. And the long email was, well, we don't take credit cards. You can. do Zelle, you can do Venmo, you can do this one, that one, the other thing. You can do an ACH transfer, a wire transfer, you can do a this or that, and then this is our bank name, and then this is all this detail. So I go into Zelle. Can't do it. You got to have a cell phone number, or Zelle is a Wells Fargo product where you can send money. Can't do it with that. So then I go into Venmo. Can't get into Venmo. My computer has changed. My phone has changed. They need an act of Congress to reset my password. I think you know the drill. And I call it out because I do find myself getting frustrated with some of this stuff. So I spent all morning trying to just get into Venmo. Couldn't do it. Finally had to, do lots of gyrations with two-factor authorization. Got into Venmo. Couldn't send the $35 from Venmo. Then I went into Wells Fargo Bank, a bank where I bank. And I thought, well, how about a wire transfer? Nope. I put in all the information. Can't do a wire transfer. Can't do an ACH transfer. Bottom line is, as I sit here at 2 o'clock today, I have an order for $35 worth of tea that I have no way of paying for. And I'm saying this because as our lives have evolved, there is an increasing amount of complexity. I had a guy yesterday, a veteran, and he's working with me for hypnosis around trauma, which is not surprising for veterans. I have to say, so a year ago, yesterday, we started our veterans program here at Heads Up. And we've had, well, over 100 veterans go through the program. Very, very proud of it. And I have a new appreciation for veterans. I have a new appreciation for their stories. And I've just been geeking out on all things veteran. World War II, Vietnam, Afghanistan, watching documentaries. And then because we run groups, I've been talking with them, and we run these groups, and they say, well, Dr. Scott, if you want to learn about what my experience in war was, watch this documentary or that documentary. So I watched this movie called Hacksaw Ridge, which was a World War II movie, just amazing. I watched this other series, HBO series called, I think I've mentioned it to you, those of you that follow me closely, Generation Kill, in which one of my guys in the group now was portrayed in that particular thing. Had a guy yesterday who used to load the bombs on the aircraft, and that we were talking about that. And I have a guy who's working through some negative thinking, and he's a young father of, I think, 2 kids. And I'm not going to get this right, and I'm not going to obviously use his name or anything that could identify him, but he's having a really hard time with calming down. And I want to talk about this because I think this is endemic to our lives right now. I have, this thing, and this thing is in my face a lot. I have a watch. I have this thing. I have an iPad at home. It's basically a nice, very expensive coaster. I put beverages on it. Just kidding around with you. And then I have this computer that I'm on, and I'm surrounded by computers in the clinic. And we were talking about, I send these recordings, I make recordings, and I send them to clients, to patients to practice with, because we start doing some release work, some energy work, Huna, Reiki, Hoku, which is the release of negative emotions. And this guy said, I listened to some of them, but he said, the dog, the kids, the wife, he said, I can't do it. I can't get 7 minutes uninterrupted. I can't get 20 minutes uninterrupted. And I said, well, we have a new problem, because we'll do what we do in session, which is uninterrupted. It's 50 minutes to an hour of he and I in person right over there. I could show you the chair. He would be sitting over there. But it's hard for him, and I realize it's hard for all of us, to find space, to find solitude, to find quiet, and that because of these devices and these screens, that we are predisposed every day to be in our screens. As you know, my partner and I have acquired children over the years. I'm not going to go into the details, but we have one kid at home. He's in his 30s, and he is a gamer. He is an avid gamer. And I laugh at him because now he works hard. He works a a good job. He's a good boy. He pays rent. He's really a very responsible young man, has his own car, but he lives with us. He's a roommate essentially now. He's in his 30s. And I laugh at him because I'll go into his room and he's got the phone, he's got the switch, he's got the iPad, he's got the big screen TV, he's got about 4 or 5 screens going at any one time. And I laugh, and we laugh about it because I said, like, how many screens do you have to have? And he's got his phone right there. He's got an iPad. He's got, you know, a Switch, which is a gaming device. He's got the TV is on, and he's playing with his controller some other game, and that's he just loves it, and it's very relaxing. So please hear me out. I don't have an I have parents bring their kids, say, my kid's addicted and we need him to stop playing video games. I think that video games are a very good thing for kids to do to a point. I'm going to give you some statistics, and some of you have heard me talk about this before. I can speak pretty quickly. Right now, I'm speaking at about 100 words per minute. So if I talk at my usual rate and rhythm of speech, I'm talking about 100 words a minute or so. That is the average of the human voice. Now, the upward limit of the human voice is 125 words a minute. And that's like an auctioneer. When I used to work in the hospital and I would dictate chart notes, I would say, you know, patient's a 36-year-old Caucasian male who self-presents with the chief of chest pain, patient's alert and oriented conscious, you know, and I would blah, 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 do these dictation things into a dictaphone. That's about 125 words a minute. Now, I am a certain generation that did not grow up with the amount and frequency of technology that your kids did, or that our kids did, or that our grandkids did in some cases. And I was talking to this young man yesterday about his children, and he has, I think, a 5 and a 7-year-old, and then he has a 22-year-old. You know, from different relationships. It's a complicated thing. And he says that he's finding it increasingly difficult to reach his kids. That and again, this is parents, children 101, the listening, and they don't pay attention and all that kind of stuff. But understand that a couple things. Number one, a child now, let's say somebody that's 10 to 20 years old, may end up working in a career or a field that doesn't exist yet. They will live another 100 plus years from now. I take great glee in telling my graduate students who are in their 20s, you're going to live another 100 years. And they, you know, like, you better prepare for your career, you know, as a therapist or as a doctor or whatever, that you've got another 100 years ahead of you. It's a weird thing to say, and it's a weird thing to think about, which is you have 100 years, 100 years left. So our kids have 100 years. They have a century ahead of them in terms of the expected lifespan as we make our progress. And a child, and now this is neuroscience, and this is a study that's been done for years, decades actually, and they wanted to know how many words per minute do we process. And I don't know how they figured this out, but I'm at my age, and I'm 65, can probably process between 2 and 5,000 words a minute. And as the generations go, it's more and more and more. It's estimated now that your kid or your grandkid can probably process upwards of 50,000 words a minute. Now listen carefully to this. I'm, you know, I'm a guy. I'm pretty good at processing information. And I can keep up. I'm keeping up, you know. But then if you look at the kids who've been born, you know, they literally had a Game Boy or something, or a phone or something in their hands since birth, with the available information on the internet. We think that they can, or have the capacity to process. Now, understand that when they say words per minute, they mean memories, smells, tastes, sounds, songs. You know, you can hear a song on the radio and it takes you back. So that's kind of how they're quantifying, not literal words per minute. Now, if you go back to the original statistic, if I can only speak at 100 words a minute, right? If I can only spit it out, and if I'm really talking fast, now I know that on YouTube you can speed up things, and I know that I watch some YouTube videos where clearly the person has, you know, 1.5x'd it or 2x'd it, and, you know, it's going really quickly. But even then, okay, great. So it's 200 words a minute. What is your kid doing with the other 49,000 plus words per minute? They have a lot of room to make it up and they need a lot of stimulation. And by the way, none of us out here are going to be as interesting as the game, the internet, the stuff. And I'm talking in global terms that if you expect your child or your children or your grandchildren, if you want their full attention, you can't handle it. You can't talk fast enough to keep their full attention. So you do your best. And so we do your best. Now this comes in and I don't know what to say about this other than this is just a fact of life, and that our available information, our relationship with technology is increasing exponentially. So back to this veteran, nice man, nice young man. And he said, I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to shut up. I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how to not be interrupted. I mean, I'm a young father of kids and dogs and spouse and job and phones and TVs and iPads. And what do you mean just not talk for 20 minutes? What do you mean meditate and listen to your recordings for 5 minutes or 7 minutes? I gave him an assignment last week before and sent him home. I said, okay, I want you to listen to some of these. Now, some of you know these recordings. You've had them, the 7 minute Ho'oponopono, the 7 minute Ho'oku'u, the 7 minute anxiety release. And I did my best to make short recordings because people's attention span is so short. Now, what's the purpose? Like, why listen to this at all? Why quiet the mind? What I'm seeing clinically in my work is an exponential growth in depression and anxiety. And that this young man, he's just an example of hundreds of examples, is coping with paralyzing anxiety, where he's just feeling on eggshells all the time. And I think that there is the reason for that is because we just never stop. We never, and people do look at me like I'm kind of crazy, and I might be crazy. Like I'll say, when do you ever stop? They go, well, what do you mean stop? Well, do you ever meditate? What do you mean meditate? Do you ever stop talking? Do you ever stop listening? Do you ever stop watching or consuming stuff? You know, Now I love my phone. Don't get me wrong. I love the technology. I love having this little thing with me because if I'm ever, at a doctor's office or I have to wait and whatever remember we used to have to look at the magazines in the doctor's office and now we just have our little phone and we can look at the news and look at videos and it's fun. It's entertaining. It really is. And I'm telling you, those of you that are, I'm going to talk about the masterclass in a minute. Those of you that are here to help, to heal, to help others, to facilitate the healing of others, advanced practitioners, your folks must learn to shut up. They must learn how to stop. And so, my assignment for this young veteran, I said, okay, between now and next week, I want you to carve out 20 minutes once a day where you are not listening, you are not talking, you are not moving. Now, if you want to use a track, you can. Recording, meaning one of the things that I sent you, you can. But I said, I know you have children and I know you have a partner. Can you negotiate for 20 minutes? He goes, wow, that's going to be really hard. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. It for me to say to any of my family, I need 20 minutes where no one's talking to me, no one's interrupting me, no one's asking me a question, no one needs anything. And I said, that's my assignment. And I said, you can blame me. You can blame your therapist. You can blame Dr. Scott and say, I have an assignment that I need to find 20 minutes where I'm not talking or listening or moving. So I'll say that to you. If you can't carve out 20 minutes a day to shut up, take the needle off the hard disk, and just be and just meditate. Now, some of the negotiations with my clients have to do with get in nature. Can you at least for a walk for 20 minutes without your headphones, without your phone, without staring into a device while you're walking? Can you go to the gym and use a treadmill and instead of listening to a podcast and studying and ruminating and thinking, can you put in either one of my tracks or use the Calm app or use some new age music or anything to shut this down for a little bit? Now, I know it's a big sales pitch, but what I'm surprised about these days is that people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, why would I do that? Why would I ever stop? What's the payoff? Well, this is up against people coming in from paralyzing anxiety and agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is the fear of leaving the house. That, since COVID, I've seen go way up. Paralyzing depression, suicidal depression, this existential crisis about what's life all about anyway, this inability to experience pleasure or joy. And so I think the cost of all this technology and all of our, you know, stuff is people's mental health and people's spiritual health. So, uh, last September at Huna, I'm a Huna teacher. I'm a Kumu of Huna, which is a Hawaiian spiritual tradition. I, yes, you can walk the dog, Amber, and at some point, can you just be alone and quiet and not moving and not talking and not listening? Even the dog needs interaction and needs to be talked to. Do you ever, and this is not just to Amber, Amber's asking a great question. Do you ever, any of you, just get some time alone where you're not needing to attend to a creature, a child, a grandchild, a cat, a dog, a parakeet, a goldfish? Do you ever get just 20 minutes to yourself? And I know some of you out there, yes, I have a practice. I sit for an hour every day and I, tune out the world, and I have a special room and a special mat and a special cushion. Great. That's awesome. You're there. The reason for that is that you will find that your mental health, your emotional health, your resilience to deal with the onslaught is going to be greatly enhanced. So at Huna, I was asked to teach, and some of you have taken the psychic development class, the STFU class. My class is called STFU because that's my campaign. Shut up. Stop talking. And I ran a bunch of level fours, I think 40 of them or more, through 6 hours of the psychic development class, the workshop. And these are advanced practitioners. They have been going to Huna for, many of them, 10, 20 years. They are already practitioners of the healing arts in various disciplines. From acupuncture, acupressure, massage therapy, chiropractic, psychiatry, psychology, social work, marriage and family therapy, physicians, OBGYNs, on and on and on. And some are also entrepreneurs and coaches, and they work in sales. And it's quite an interesting and eclectic group of people. And what they asked for was that they said, we have a community that we meet every 6 months, but we would really appreciate something in between to look at skill building and skill development. And so, starting next Wednesday, which I think is the 20, let me look here, the 22nd, is going to be the first of a 2-hour masterclass. Now, masterclass, for those of you that don't know, is an advanced level practitioner training. Now, I will go over today in just a few minutes what we're going to cover, but understand the point of the class is that you bring what you want. You bring your challenges, you bring your case studies, you bring the kind of next level of your development, and then we work together to come up with ideas and strategies. I have a lot of tools. I use. I met with somebody yesterday who's probably going to be on the call, and I used a technique that he had never, ever seen before and thought it was pretty provocative. So these include things. Now, if you are not, you don't have to be a Huna advanced level student to study with me. If you are in the healing arts of any kind, but you're going to need to be in the realm of neurolinguistic programming, biofeedback, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, Reiki, energy work, light work, psychic things, medium, trance channeling, that kind of thing. That's the arena. I am not a surgeon. This isn't an advanced class on surgical orthopedic techniques. This is in the realm of my bailiwick, which is healing, energy work, psychology, social work, psychic development, intuitive awareness, energy, healing, light work, and that kind of stuff. And so, and I'm just going to run through some of the possibilities, um, from enhancing your own ability to be more intuitive, enhancing your own ability to protect yourself from the onslaught of what's coming at you all the time. That's in human form and energetic form, right? Or canine form, if your dog is really annoying, uh, including they're the cutest things in the world. This class will now. This is an open group, which means you can come, don't come. You can join, don't join. You can come to one, never come again. You can come to everyone. By coming, or at least paying for it, you'll get the recording. And so it'll be on Zoom. It's completely virtual too, because that was the other request. We can't come to Las Vegas. We can't come to Minneapolis. Can't afford to go to Hawaii, necessarily. And so we want something that's accessible, that's your techniques, that's malleable, meaning flexible. And so what this is going to be called is my company is called Integral Life Systems. And I believe in the integral life, or the integrated life, which means mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, intuitive, those 5 bodies. And so I am by no means an expert, but many of you know I've lost 100 pounds in the last year and a half. Many of you know that I've had near-death experiences. I've had a lot of psychic experiences. I've had a lot of intuitive kinds of things, and that I am a physical medium. I can trance channel. I do readings and that kind of stuff. And I don't say that to impress you. That's just kind of my skill set. Read people really, really well. So this class will contain readings if that's what you want. This class will contain skill building and skill development around a number of things. And it doesn't need to be Huna only. It doesn't need to be hypnosis or NLP only. It doesn't need to be Reiki or anything. But I'm not, I don't work with crystals. And so if you are a crystal worker, you may talk to me about how you might use your crystals, like that. And so I have my little core set of skills, and I will be offering guidance and coaching and mentoring to those people who are interested, not only for their work with others, but for their work with themselves as well. So if you're on a healing path, if you're on a journey, we will do things like house clearing, clearing spaces, remote viewing. We'll do things like psychic reading, how to tap in, how to not tap in, how to shut the aperture down if you're too sensitive to energy, how to open it up if you would like to be more sensitive to energy. It will be basically, and if you know me at all, I can talk like I'm doing now, and I can talk about anything, but I'm going to look to you for guidance. I'm going to look to you for some requests around what you want to look at. And I expect it. I expect it. This is not a curriculum. This is not a core curriculum where there's going to be handouts and PowerPoints and a lecture every month. This is going to be a dynamic, ever-changing, open group where people come and go. We have about 40 right now that have expressed interest and on the list, and we welcome you. Now, I don't think 40 are going to show up the first day, but we'll see. And so I encourage you. It'll be 2 hours. I'm going to use at least 90 minutes for the instruction, the lecturing, the information delivery, the tools, the sharing the tools, and then at least 30 minutes for question and answer. And I may break you out into breakout rooms to practice certain techniques. So other things that we'll go over will be certainly psychic readings, intuitive readings, how to enhance your intuition, how to clear spaces, how to remove entities and demons, how to identify whether something is a demon or an entity, how to connect to guides, connect to dead relatives, dead pets, to spirit guides, to angels, to higher council members. We'll do past life regression as people are interested in it. I'll do readings of you. I will use you as examples and as demos. And so I'll just put it out there who would like to volunteer for me to do a reading, to demonstrate a particular technique. There will be work for those of you that are Huna students, there will be advanced work with the Opua, the symbols that we use in Huna. There will be advanced work with chanting and with vibrational medicine. There'll be advanced work with doing readings, getting with each other to do readings and seeing what comes up. There'll be a lot of work around healing in terms of emotional healing, baggage release, advanced higher self therapy, advanced meditation techniques, uh, hypnosis, past life regression, current life regression. I mean, I could go on. So, all of the things, if you know me and if you follow me, and you can look at the website, it's www.drpatrickscott.com, and it's in the description below. And there'll be a live events page, and that will be something that you can sign up for, and you can read all about my skill set. And so, if initially I thought I was going to limit it just to advanced Huna students because there are hundreds of them, but then I got some requests from people who haven't who are practitioners in the healing arts, but they aren't specifically Huna advanced practitioners, which is totally fine. But understand that when you come, so that we have an even playing field, I'm going to need you to. Now, I will not be putting anybody on the spot. Now, listen carefully. There is a monthly meditation that I do called Ho'oku'u. That is an hour-long meditation where we release negative emotions and limiting beliefs and all that sort of thing. And it's essentially um, uh, the complete opposite of that. So the big selling point for Ho'oku'u is you're anonymous, no camera, no audio. It's just me and you, right, on a meditation, releasing baggage. You don't have to talk. You don't have to ask questions, and no one ever asks questions because they're so trancy by the end of it. I just stopped asking. It's an hour long meditation. So now that happens. Many of you avail yourself of that. It's a wonderful program. This could not be more different. This is 2 hours, and it is. I can't make you put your camera. I want a relationship with you. I want to talk to you. I want you to talk to me. And whether you, put it in the chat or ask a question or raise your hand, you know how Zoom works. I'm going to want to hear from you so that I can guide the instruction, guide the class, guide the coaching, guide the mentoring. And I'm happy to respond to anything within my scope of practice, if that's psychology or social work or energy work or Huna or NLP or anything that I know about. And I'm really good about saying, if it's not about orthopedic surgery, I am not an orthopedic surgeon. And if you bring something that is beyond my scope, I will be the first one to admit that is not my area of study or my field. And if I do know somebody, I may make a recommendation, but I'll be very quick to say, no, that's not something that I have an expertise with. Now, if you are considering joining, you can also email me at info@drpatrickscott.com and ask questions, or you can ask questions here, if you want. I'm just looking at the thing. Amber's here, Josh is here. Awesome. You can ask questions about like what, will you be covering this? Will you be covering that? If you are on the fence, and maybe you don't think you're advanced enough of a level, Huna level or an NLP level. Let's say you're not a master practitioner, you're not a level 4, 3 or 4 Huna. Reach out to me, set up a consultation. It's free. I'll talk to you and we can go over it. The worst case scenario for me is that you would join this thing and be lost. Best case scenario is you'd be participating and say, gee, I want to look at this, that, or the other thing. The fee is $200 for the 2 hours. So it's $100 an hour. It's payable in advance, and purchasing, and it's monthly. There's no commitment. There's no, like I said, it's an open group. This was at the request of all these students who said, gee, we would really like to work with you, but you're not available. You're too busy, or you're just, so this is me responding to you guys and putting myself out there to be available to you monthly for 2 hours. The fee is $200 payable in advance of the session. You'll get the link once you get the session. If you can't make the live, as always, we will record the session and you can look at the session. There is a discount. I think it's a 6-month discount for $900. Yeah. So I think so. It's on the website, and you can send an email if you're interested to info@drpatrickscott. Just request more information about the Integral Life Masterclass. And so we'll be starting that next week. I am excited also to report that we are going to be doing our first level two. I'm going to be doing my first level two here in Las Vegas in May. I don't have the dates off the top of my head. We are solidifying that. We already have some enrollees for that. And that we'll be doing our first hybrid level one, where we have a number of students in person and a number of students on Zoom. And I'm going to do a 5-day level one Huna training. So if Huna speaks to you, calls to you, you can look up Huna, Huna, and Dr. Matt has a lot of information online about Huna.com. You can look at my website as well and just research those healing tools. Level one this spring will be, we're looking at April, I think. Level one 5-day. It'll be virtual and hybrid. So if you are in the Las Vegas area or you'd like to come to Las Vegas, we'll have a way to see you in person. And then also, if you can't join, I have people all over the world that are looking forward to joining it because they just don't have the availability right now to go to Hawaii or come to Las Vegas or go to Japan, where they're also being level ones are being done there by Kumu Tomoe. And so that's really, really exciting. So lots of exciting things. I think that's enough for today. Primary reason for today's YouTube Live is the Integral Life Masterclass. And if you're interested, again, go to www.drpatrickscott. That's drpatrickscott.com, all one word, lowercase. So we will see you soon. Thanks for everything.